Ladies and gentlemen, SuckItUpUSA.com presents Suck It Up MMA Live. No excuses, no quit. With your hosts, positioned firmly in front of the control board, and out of the red corner, Tom McManus! Across the desk, and out of the blue corner, Larry the Professor Sheely!
All right, welcome in. How you doing out there? The Suck It Up Radio Network and our MMA special every Tuesday and Thursday on the Suck It Up Radio Network here at SuckItUpUSA.com. I have a feeling this song might be our theme song next week as we travel up to Indianapolis, Indiana for Super Bowl 46. Talk about that at another time. Of course, we dedicate time to mixed martial arts, the industry, the fighters, the schools, the competitions, everything else in between. Love having it on, and it fits a suck it up way of life because at the end of the day, you better suck it up, train your ass off, or get your ass beat. Professor Larry Sheely, how are you, my friend?
What do they say? Suck it up or swallow some teeth, right?
Yeah, I like that. Ooh, that might be a good tagline for MMA, right?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. It's always fun here in the loft, talking about something we both like, love, and then embracing more and more every day.
No doubt about it. We're going to go down to Miami today. Marcos Avellan, who's got over 1,000 students at the Freestyle Fighting Academy in Miami. I'm seeing here on his site that Kimbo Slice trained down there one time.
That's what
Very
I understand.
Interesting. Cool.
A lot of good fighters come through with Marcos and his brother David. Good guys, good technicians, man. Very good technicians.
And Marcos, he's been a boxer, a grappler, Muay Thai, MMA fighter. You told me during
wrestler.
Mm-hmm. You told me during the break that, or top of the hour, that his gym is open 24 hours a day and has over 1,000 students.
Yep, 24/7, baby. And it's funny, he, I don't know how many years ago, he'll share it with us, but started with like 30 or 40 students, making no money, living with his parents.
Nice.
And he's living the dream, man. He works his tail off. But hey,
you got to. That's the only way you're going to make it, Larry, by working your ass off. I don't care what you're into. Hard work. There is no substitute for hard work.
Now we got to be careful. He'll probably try to sign us up over the phone.
To be what, 1100, 1101
That's
student?
right.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. He's that kind of guy. So
unbelievable.
It's gonna be fun, man.
I think this weekend's fights are going to be fun, man. You love that it's mainstream. You love that it doesn't have to be pay-per-view. And these are some big fights. We were talking about them earlier today at the 820 block every Thursday. The Professor Larry Sheely from Jacksonville's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu School joins me on my radio show here in Northeast Florida, Tom McManus Uncensored. So stay tuned for that. You catch it right here at SuckItUpUSA.com. We stream live. You can also get it on your phone, your Android or iPhone, by just texting the letters SIU to the number 72239. But Rashad Evans, a former champ himself, and he'll be going after Phil Davis. Is going to be a big battle. And I think everyone we've talked to this week, anyway, Larry, has Davis winning this one. Why is that?
Well, early in the week, some other folks were talking about Evans, but it's who's hot, man. Any given day, just like football.
Yeah, any given Sunday.
Any given day, these guys can beat each other. They're all pros. What you have is the salty one who's been around a little bit is in Evans. And with Davis, he's an up-and-comer. They're both excellent fighters, both excellent wrestlers. It'll be interesting to see if the experience wins out over the maybe a little green, but the up-and-comer.
I always I remember watching Evans in The Ultimate Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
his body has transformed since then. Man, he is a shredded individual. He was kind of a little bit, not never fat, but just a little bit bigger, a little bit maybe more dense in muscle.
Right.
He's got a wrestling background, but I always thought he could throw. You know, the certain fights that I've seen throughout the years, I always thought that Rashad Evans could really throw, you know, those hands. And
he does.
Man, what a formidable opponent in that regard.
Right. Again, the wrestling, he will stand and trade. He brings it. The one good thing about this is both of them are going to be in great shape. They're going to bring it. They've got a wrestling mentality, which, you know, they're used to what in collegiate wrestling was it 3-2s and just balls to the wall. That's the way they're going to fight this fight. So it's going to be fun to see. And who are you picking?
You know, I've never watched Davis. I've never watched him. Give me a lowdown on Davis.
Davis is out of and Brad Daddis mentioned it today. He's one of the Lloyd Irvin. He's a Lloyd Irvin fighter.
Okay.
Lloyd is he's a legend in this business. He's young. I think he's 7-0. Great wrestler. I think his mind is going to be strong as can be.
Okay.
The cat's out of Lloyd Irvin's camp. Very strong-minded. He's a strong-minded man. He shares his psychologies with them, and I like him. I just like him. I think he's going to bring it. Evans, you can't bet against him. So actually, this week I've picked both of them at one time or another. So,
so it should be a good throwdown.
I believe it will.
You think it'll go to the ground? You think they end it standing up?
I think it'll hit the ground.
Yeah, it'll hit the ground.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If one's getting the better of the other standing, again with the wrestling. At least they'll try to take it to the ground. You get two good wrestlers. It'll be interesting to see who can take it to the ground if it goes there.
I'm looking on upcoming MMA fights. Of course, you got Evans and Davis. That's in Chicago, the United Center. Man, I'd love to be up there for that one. That'd be fantastic. Diaz and Condit for UFC 143 out in Vegas. Middle of February, Sanchez versus Ellenberger. Later in February, Edgar versus Henderson.
That's going to be a big one.
Yeah, that's Dan Henderson, right?
Yeah,
Dan Henderson?
No, that's
okay.
Ben Henderson.
Ben Henderson,
and
okay.
Smaller guys. Edgar's the cat who can bring it for fives and not stop. Lighter weight, I think they're 145s. No, excuse me, 155s, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, that's going to be a war. If you haven't seen Edgar fight, he's a joy to watch.
Alves versus Campman. Is that Thiago Alves, most likely?
You know, I haven't seen that. I haven't gone that far.
That's in March. We'll wait till that one. But, man, they've got them set up. UFC 143, UFC 144. You got it on Fox 2, Fuel TV, FX. Don't forget about Bellator 60, which is Warren and Curran. And then Strikeforce 39, which will be over in that'll be up in Columbus, Ohio.
Man, you've done your homework, Tommy.
I'm checking it out, man. I like it, man. I mean, look,
sinking yourself into it, right?
Yeah, you know, the thing is, it's just I don't know. I'm always enamored with somebody that's not afraid to get hit in the face. You know, I mean, Brad said it this morning. He's like, you know, we're so used to get hit in the face that there is no. You know, when we get into it, our adrenaline's not as high as somebody else that, you know, you get hit in the face and you lose all control because you do. Your anger and your, you know, you're a little shocked. You might be mad, you know, and might be scared a little bit because you'd be like, question. Whoa. But these guys, as you know, it's like, man, you hit me in the face. I get hit in practice. That's not going to affect me. And even though you hit me, that doesn't mean it's over either. So you better be prepared.
Exactly. The adrenaline, they don't have the adrenaline.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. And did you ever have the adrenaline dump when you first played football?
Yeah, always.
Yeah,
always.
Brutal.
But you can't. You have to be composed. You have. It's like, especially with middle linebacker, because you have to read so much. If I'm thinking run, I just got to come up and smash everybody. Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to run into the line, and they're going to swallow me up, and I'm not going to make any plays.
Right.
You've got to be able to read, react, defend. Be instinctual. You got to know your plays. You got to know your checks to the front, your checks to the cover. If you run around with a quote-unquote chicken with his head cut off, you're not going to get anything done. It's very similar in Ed. You get in that ring, the octagon, you got to be poised. You got to concentrate on your breathing, be very strategic, respect that person.
Absolutely.
It's not like you just say, okay, I'm going forward, Because if you go forward and that guy stands there with a stiff, jab, guess what? You're going to be feeling a mouthful of teeth going down the freaking the throat of yours. But
there you go.
Nonetheless, let's see. Let's get the phone calls going
like
here.
Master Marcos is probably on the line.
Marcos Avellan. Let's see if we can get him on the line here and get him up on the Suck It Up Radio Network. Marcos, is that you?
Yes, it is. How you doing?
Hey, Marcos. Tom McManus here along with the Professor Larry Shealy on the Suck It Up Radio Network. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us up here in Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
My pleasure, Tom. My pleasure. Big Larry, how you doing?
Doing great. Doing great, Marcos. Been bragging on you, man.
Yeah, we have. I saw your bio. I looked at your website. I see all the great students you have and the great work you're doing down there at the Freestyle Fighting Academy in Miami, Marcos. And, man, congratulations on living the dream, of fighting for that dream, working for that dream. That's what Suck It Up is all about, is dreaming and willing to work for it. Because a lot of people dream, they're not willing to fight through it till the end, until that dream is realized. So congratulations to you, my man.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tom. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely not. Nothing good comes easy. Everything's about the grind. And that's the thing I really emphasize to my students, that the martial arts, like what did best for me, was not so much learning how to punch and kick. I mean, I love punching and kicking people. Don't get me wrong, but what it really taught me, the best thing about it was definitely the work ethic. One of the qualities needed to get your black belt is discipline and a very strong work ethic that you develop on the mats. And you can see it with people that start the first time, and after like 3-4 minutes of rolling, they're already gassed and they can't go anymore. But then those same people, months down the road, all of a sudden now they have like a much stronger will, and they can push past what they thought was their self-perceived limits. And then as the years roll by, they just become totally different individuals. They're much more confident, much mentally stronger people, and it translates to every aspect of their lives. So yes, I definitely appreciate the message you're putting out there, because it's something I truly believe in. Like if you want something, you got to be willing to grind harder than everybody else to get it.
My very first football coach, Mike Flood, out of Chicago, Illinois, at St. Mary's of Buffalo Grove, said this: what the mind can conceive, the body will achieve, and those who remain will be champions. Isn't that the truth?
Most definitely, most definitely. I like to think of Forrest Gump.
Yep.
The trip boat story. When they had the hurricane, they were the only ones out in the water during the hurricane.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they were the only people left, and that's what made them big success. Even though it's a fictional movie, I believe in that message. When the going gets tough, everybody jumps ship, everybody quits. And if you just hang in there during the toughest part of the storm, at the end of the day, you'll be the only one on top. And that's a philosophy I
yeah.
everything.
And good things happen to good people, Marcus, as you know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. I agree.
Marcos, I was telling Tom you're 24/7 down there. Have you figured out how to add a day to that yet?
Repeat that. What you said?
Yeah, you there, Marcos? Yeah, he was saying you're open 24 hours a day, man. You need another day to create for the week, make it an 8-day work week.
For sure.
He's looking for ways. I know they are.
We just expanded. Like this Monday we just opened up another 4,000 square feet upstairs to accommodate. So because we can't add another day in the week, like you said, we added another facility upstairs. So right now we have 5 training rooms going on. We have 2 rooms down. We have 2 rooms downstairs and an outdoor. We do an outdoor circuit as well, and we have 2 rooms upstairs. So right now we're running 5 classes at once.
Marcos Avellan from the Freestyle Fighting Academy in Miami here with us on the Suck It Up Radio Network for our MMA special every Tuesday and Thursday with from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Professor Larry Shealy and myself. All right, so you're a boxer, Marcos, you're a wrestler, you're a grappler, you're a world-class grappler, you've competed in the Abu Dhabi competition. Talk about how you got into it. Did you start with boxing? Did you get into wrestling after that? Tell us a little bit about the journey that Marcos Avellan has been on from the beginning.
Well, I got started in martial arts because I witnessed a very vicious beating when I was a teenager. I don't know if anyone here has seen that video clip that's kind of viral right now. They call it 6 versus 1 Asian beating, where they had 6 people beat up this one poor Asian kid in Chicago. And it was similar to that, the beating I saw when I was like about 14, 15. And in essence, it was maybe 6, 7 kids taking turns, kicking the hell out of this poor kid right in front of the school. And this is back in the day when they didn't have the security teams they have now in Miami. It was this one big fat security guard, and he couldn't do anything about it. It was a whole bunch of guys, and he just literally was waiting for them to get tired so he can drag the victim away. And these kids, the guy was already unconscious. He was covered in blood. And it was the first time in my life ever seeing real blood like that. I mean, one thing to see on TV, another thing to see in person.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I seen someone unconscious. Like, it's a very powerful thing when you see it live. And you just don't get that on TV. And the thing that struck me the most was not so much the beating itself, but the humiliation factor that they were laughing at him, they were spitting on him, they were doing a lot of, it was very humiliating. And when they finally pulled the kid away, I remember thinking to myself, man, that could have been me, And my thought process at the time was not about being able to defend myself, was being able to make sure at least one of those guys wouldn't be laughing,
Yeah.
Like if it happened to me, at least one guy would have a broken mouth, So that got me into martial arts, and then from there, I started out taking a more traditional martial arts. I started with Jeet Kune Do, and then from there I went into wrestling, and because back then the UFC was just starting up, and Dan Severn was winning tournaments back then. He was suplexing people, and when I saw him suplex Anthony Macias, that made me want to join wrestling. So I got into my high school wrestling team. I quit the Jeet Kune Do, and then when I finished high school wrestling, because of Title IX in Florida, there's no wrestling in college. Well, Title IX is everywhere, but because of that, in Florida, there's no wrestling in college. And the next closest thing I could find was doing mixed martial arts. And back then, it was called NHB. The acronym MMA didn't exist. It was No Holds Barred,
right?
The sport.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that.
That's what it was called, NHB. I still have my first Yellow Pages ad, and it says kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, NHB.
Wow.
If I put that now, no one would know what it means.
A suplex is when you go chest to chest and whip you over your head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
bare knuckle. There was no gloves.
Wow.
So,
Chest to
I
back.
started training in no holds barred fighting style under Master Randy Ibarra, and he taught me a mix of jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and kickboxing. And then from there, I just kept training. I hooked up with some really good kickboxers over my time. One of my coaches, Eric Castaños, he was a 3-time world champion kickboxer. I worked with him for about 3 or 4 years. And then since then, I've traveled to Thailand. I've done a month of instructor training over in Thailand at Tiger Muay Thai, a really good gym. I went to Cuba. I boxed in Cuba for a few weeks with Coach Miranda. He's coached a lot of Olympians over there. He's an amazing coach. And over the years, I trained with Lloyd Irvin, Master Lloyd Irvin. Got a lot of guys in UFC now. Got Mike Easton winning fights, Brandon Vera. He's coach of Dominic Cruz, world champion. And I worked out over there. So I've worked out a lot of different places, and I've picked up a lot of technique. And right now, I consider myself a very well-balanced martial artist. I work on my striking, I work on my wrestling, and I work on my groundwork. And with regards to ACC, I was always a very avid competitor in grappling. And back when I was 21, 22, MMA was illegal in Florida. So, like, times I was really into competition, the only outlet was grappling at the time. And then I got sucked into it. I became very into the grappling competition scene. And I got an invite to the ACC trials. I won the trials, getting scored on. I won all my matches. I got to compete in the World Championships. I think it was in 2003 or 2005, I forget. And that's my competition story.
That is
great. I've done a few MMA fights, and now I coach full time. Now I coach a very big team, and that's my passion at the moment, coaching.
Don't you have a fighter house, Marcos?
Yeah, I'm all in with everything I do, and with the coaching aspect, I've created. I have actually 2 fighter houses. Basically, I wanted to have an atmosphere where the athlete can have an unfair advantage over my competition. I'm all about getting the edge of my competition legally. All right, most guys do it through steroids. I do it the old-fashioned way, hard work. And one of the things we decided to set up was an environment where our top athletes, can just focus on training. They train 5 to 6 hours a day. They don't have to worry about how to pay their bills, how to pay for food. These guys, we take care of all that for them. We have right now we have a condo set up where we have I think 4 guys living in there right now. Yeah, with 4 guys. It's Jason, Shaw, Devin, and Ray. And on February 15th, I should be finishing closing on the new house. And the new house is a 1,900 square foot house. and that one would be housing like a whole bunch more guys. So we're going to have 2 places for all our fighters, and the goal is to have a team of about 10 to 12 guys that live and breathe and eat martial arts. But the thing is, like, a lot of people hear that and they think, oh, I want to do that, and they really don't. They really don't. They think
no, right.
You know, but when they have to actually train their ass off 5 to 6 hours a day, every day, like there's not. Some people ask me about, oh, training camp. There's no training camp. We just train. We train like training camp every day. Like Jason and Devin and these guys, they've been training 5 to 6 hours a day since January. I don't mean January this year. I mean January last year. So they've been on this grind for a full year now, and they're physical specimens. You know, Jason won the FILA World Championships over in Serbia last year.
Wow.
Devin's still a blue belt. He just started the program, and last competition he tapped out a legitimate jiu-jitsu black belt at the Grappler's Quest. And he's only a blue belt. I've never had a blue belt.
That's incredible.
That is.
A black belt in the finals of an advanced division before. So these are the kind of things that are happening. These kind of freaky things are happening because we've set up a freaky environment. You understand? Like they have an outlier environment. It's like the book by Malcolm Gladwell,
Outliers, right?
If you're listening to this call, I recommend you pick that up. It talks about the backgrounds of all the most successful people and how they had a certain advantage that other people didn't have. It talks about Bill Gates, and like Bill Gates had access to a special computer that was cutting edge that no one else in the country had access to. Like only like 2 schools had access to it, and he basically had unlimited access. So by the time this computer became mainstream, he had a huge head start on everybody. Well, right now in this sport, it's infancy. Very few people can truly train full time. Like right now, you have guys in the UFC that work 9 to 5. So like very few people have that advantage. They could just train full time.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm supplying that advantage, and the results are eminent. All the guys in that program are doing great. Shaw just won recently by knockout. He beat Palmpina, one of the head instructors of the American top team, a tremendous black belt, excellent competitor. And I give one of the main credits for that happening is the environment, being able to set up the Shaw where you don't have to work. He just literally comes in the morning, trains hard, goes back, rests, come back in the evening, trains hard again. And the Fighter House thing is something that very proud of, for sure.
That is fantastic, Marcos. Marcos Avellan here with us from the Freestyle Fighting Academy down in Miami, telling us his story as a former NFL football player. I know what it's like to basically your job is to stay in shape, to train, to get as good as you can. What people don't realize is getting there is one thing. Maintaining and being successful and having as a longevity part of your life, man. You got to be so committed to the getting better at your craft, your conditioning, and you guys are talking. Look, I had teammates, I had guys next to me. You know, I had big old defensive linemen to keep those big fat offensive linemen off me so I could tackle the running back. With you guys, it's one-on-one. You got to be so not only skilled, but man, hard to not be afraid of competition and never give up, never quit. You know, our tagline here at Suck It Up, Marcos, is living life to the fullest with no excuses and no quit. And you guys live it, man. And that's what, look, I love playing football. I love training. I did some martial arts for football. I recently got introduced to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu through the professor here, Larry Sheely. And, man, I just enamored with you guys because you live that credo of, man, we're going to do whatever it takes to be the best we can be no matter what. And I love it.
Speaking your language, aren't we, Marcos?
Yes, most definitely.
Now, Marcos, those guys that are in the Fight House, how are they graded? It's not just training, but do they have to win, the matches that you put them in order to stay in the house? I mean, how does that work? Do they move out of the house when they, become big stars? I mean, how does that whole, thing work with the Fight Houses?
Well, for me, it's not necessarily. Cause I got into martial arts because I was set up to be an engineer. I had a full ride, full scholarship as an engineering, and I come from a family of engineers. My father, my grandfather, all my uncles are all engineers. My brother graduated #1 in his class as an engineer. My brother David was also an incredible competitor and a martial artist. Mm-hmm. But for me, I was taking calculus in my junior year of high school. I was taking calculus. I was like one of these nerdy kids, but I hated it, and I dropped out of college with 16 credits left because I just did not want to do this. Like I remember the professor was giving us a pep talk, and he said, "This is concrete. This is going to be one of your final classes, advanced classes. From this point on, soon after this class, you'll be on the field work. And he said this to pep everybody up. You need to feel working soon. And it actually terrified me. And I got up and left. And I never went back to school. And the thing is, for me, like, I got into this because I like the ability to help people directly, like hands-on, that I feel you don't really get in other jobs. I mean, there's a lot of important jobs out there, but obviously I'm biased. I feel like my job's the most important, and it's because I get people that come to me in their last straw, or people that have no direction, don't know what to do with their life. I'm able to put them on a path. And for me, with a fighter house, to me it's not so important if they're winning. I mean, that's a byproduct of their hard work. To me, what I really want is people who are seriously committed to the program.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone comes to me and they're the most unathletic, most terrible athlete, but this guy puts in 100% every workout, lives by our code, because we have a code. We have a code of honor that we work by. Like, we don't do any drugs, no drinking. Our guys are all straight shooters, no excuses. Excuses are not tolerated. No tardiness. We're all punctual guys. I run this thing very militant style. You know, these guys are very disciplined. And along with doing the martial arts, they're also under a mentorship where they're reading books about marketing, books about business, books about self-advancement, like Anthony Robbins and things like that. And they're expected to digest these materials, and they're tested on these materials. So it's more of a lifestyle that we're preaching with our program here. You know, we have some guys that are really good fighters that have heard about the Fighter House and submitted their information to me from other gyms, and they're in the UFC and stuff. And I didn't accept them. You know, it's just I didn't feel that they were ready for the kind of commitment I was asking. And I get on their Facebook and I see them with pictures chugging bottles of alcohol and stuff. And it's like, look, this thing is not a game. Like, when they get into this thing, like, the way I look at it is like this. When we start out here in life and whatever thing we're doing, like, let's say you want to be a fighter and you want to get into become UFC champion. Let's say you're 170 pounder right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the world champ is GSP, and you want his belt. It's his. He has it. You want it from him. There's not like a mystical belt you're going to get. It's GSP's belt you want. So I like to think of it as a metaphor I use is like a race.
Yep.
Right now, GSP, if you're just starting out in the sport, he's way down the race. You're doing a 5-mile race, or let's say you're doing a marathon. You're doing what is it, marathon? 23 miles, 21 miles?
26.2.
Okay, so he's doing this huge race, and he's already 2 miles, 3 miles ahead of you. So if you want to win this race, are you going to run at the same pace? Well, let's start with the common sense thing. You run slower than GSP. No, if you run slower, it's going to open up the lead. So you got to run as fast as GSP. No, if you run at the same pace as him, you're never going to catch him. So if GSP is already training, let's say 5 hours a day, bare minimum, you got to put in at least 10 to 20 minutes more than him. Now, if he's doing maximum capacity, I think max capacity for an athlete is between 5 to 6 hours. After that, it becomes detrimental. So if he's already at max capacity, as far as time is concerned, then you got to do more effort than him. So if GSP is putting 95% effort, you got to put in 96, 97% effort at minimum. So you can gain on him. If you train just as hard as him, he's going to maintain that lead on you. So when Thanksgiving comes around, or when New Year's comes around, and GSP stops to take a break, does that mean you stop to take a break? No, that's the time you run even harder. If you want to catch him on that lead. That's why our guys train on New Year's. We have a video every year, and every year on New Year's, we hit a run. And we do the run as they do the count. I go 3, 2, 1, and we bounce out. I videotape it so people don't think I'm lying. And as the fireworks are going off and stuff, we're doing our first run because now we have the head start in all our opposition for that year. We're the first people training. That's the kind of philosophies we have.
Yeah.
It's very hardcore. It's extreme. A lot of people hear that and think it's crazy. It's probably crazy, I'm not going to lie. But the results are unquestionable. So our philosophy in the program is 100% nothing less than that. So as far as if they're winning fights and stuff, I really don't care. I really don't care. As long as they're giving me that kind of effort where they're really trying to chase down the guy in front of them. And if they're going 100% and they're giving it everything have, man, I'm proud to have them on the team. They're an asset to the team. Because that kind of work ethic is contagious. See, if you're in a room, I mean, Matt Hughes used to talk about this, and I agree with him on this, that if you're in a workout room and there's one guy that's quitting all the time, he's a cancer to the team. Because if you're in a room and everybody's doing the exercise and you feel like you're about to quit and nobody's quit yet, you don't want to be that first person to quit. There's a pressure in the room not to be that first person to quit. But if there's a guy that quits next to you, man, he just took a whole bunch of pressure off you to go ahead and quit as well. people are quitting like they're a cancer. But every person in there that doesn't quit, every person is a grinder.
Yep.
They add pressure to everyone else to be a grinder. That's why our Fighter House guys, we don't call them Fighter House. The name of the team, they're called the Grinders. And the house is Grind House.
I love it.
It's a philosophy to do with everything.
Yeah.
When we do like work projects, when we do our little stuff for the school on the side, like they make websites and stuff too. Like Ray just made a website that took number 2 in Google for the most popular key term in Miami. So like when they do these projects, they do them with the same ferocity that they do with their training. Like we don't allow cardio tapping for the grinders. Grinders are not allowed to tap out when they're tired. You know, the grinders have like a different standard that I hold them to than all the other students. But when I see someone that comes to me and they look like a grinder, then that's something that we go through a whole process of kind of hazing them to see if they're capable. Like kind of like when the Navy SEALs, they call it the Hell Week.
Yeah.
We do something like that, where they'll go a whole week working like animals, maybe with 3 hours a night of sleep, and we test them.
Right.
And like these guys, when they went through it through the holidays. So they missed Christmas, they missed New Year's, working.
Right.
And it's extreme, and I only want extreme. I want people that are going to bleed and die for their goals.
I played under Tom Coughlin here in Jacksonville and at Boston College. He would always say, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. That's why I'm not going to let it be easy. And you're right. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a way you live your life and get after, whether you're competing inside the ring or octagon or competing in the game of life. Larry and I, and yourself included, we know what, either sports, martial arts, what have you, they get you ready for life, because life's not easy. Life can be challenging, and you got to find a way to work through it. Marcos, I'm looking on your website here. Did Kimbo Slice train with you guys?
Yeah, we got him started in MMA back in the day.
Okay, good.
I actually trained him for about maybe 2 years before Boss Ruben picked him up. And when I used to train with him, though, he didn't want to do MMA. He only wanted to do street boxing. And so a lot of techniques, if you ever watch his old backyard fights, you'll see him throwing elbows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was stuff that we were training him here. The only time he wanted to do MMA was at the very, very end. So I trained him for like maybe 2 months prior to his fight. And then like 2 weeks before his first fight, he left to Boss Ruben. You know how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. How'd you find him? I know he was living down south, wasn't he, in South Florida?
He's a Miami guy.
Yeah. Okay. So
Found him on the internet, huh?
Yeah, actually on the UG.
Okay.
Right.
Manager was posting there, and I made a post. I said, hey, I got a proposition might be interested in, and I offered to train him, and he came over. He's a nice guy, man. I don't have anything bad to say about Kimbo. He's a nice guy. He came over, and he was really good with the people. He's the kind of person that, like, if you're a fan, you come up to him, and you say hi, he's not going to, like, snub you. He'll sit there, post pictures of you, hang out with you, whatever. And when he was in the gym, he worked, and, nothing to say about him.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcos Avellan here with us, Freestyle Fighting Academy in Miami. Larry has talked to me about what the Abu Dhabi competition is, and if I pronounce that wrong, I apologize. But you competed in it. Tell us about that. I know there's a gi and non-gi division, correct? In that's the non-gi, Larry, right?
Basically, it's considered by many to be like the Olympics of submission grappling.
Okay.
Started, I'm not sure when, I think in 99 or 2001. And basically there's a sheik in Saudi, in Abu Dhabi, but so that really is into the sport of grappling. And he decided he wanted to have the best grapplers compete in front of him. So he put up these huge cash prizes that no one else is doing, because in all honesty, it's probably not economically feasible. He's probably taking a loss every time, but this is his passion. So he's got the money, so he's doing it. And every year they have five weight classes and 16 competitors per weight class from around the world: Brazil, Japan, USA, different countries in Europe, Canada, etc. And each country has trials to send people to it, and some people, by their credentials, get a straight invitation. My brother's gotten a straight invitation 4 consecutive tournaments in a row, and
Wow.
the tournament's once every 2 years. So my brother has competed representing the United States for the past 8 years straight, and he has a third-place finish in Barcelona in 2009, where he submitted 3 out of 4 of his opponents. My brother's a real rock star.
Yes, he is.
Really good.
Yes, he is.
Myself, I competed in the trials. I won the trials. defeated my opponents, and I got to compete. And the opening round, I lost in overtime to Shinji Aoki, very popular MMA fighter and jiu-jitsu black belt, judo black belt. I lost in overtime by points versus him. But it was was a really unreal experience to be able to go and compete in such an event. Like I said, there's hands down the most prestigious no-gi grappling event in the world. And it was a great experience. And nationally, I've won a lot of tournaments. I'm a two-time national champion. I won the ACC Nationals, and I won Grappler's Quest had a nationals tournament back then. We did a similar thing, and I won that tournament. So in grappling, I had a good run when I was doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't competed in grappling in maybe 3 or 4 years. The last thing I did an MMA fight 2 years ago, and I won that.
Nice.
I'm planning on doing another fight, hopefully, probably maybe summer or fall.
Yeah. Marcos, who's some of your favorite MMA fighters you watch, whether on TV or in person? You mentioned GSP being the champ, coming off the ACL. Some fights this weekend that should be fun to watch. Who does Marcos Avellan like to watch?
Man, I know he's catching a lot of beef lately, man, but I'm a Fedor fan.
Oh yeah, right.
You know, I grew up watching The Pride and stuff, man, and I don't care what anyone said. I still believe. Yeah. I like the GSP, even though his fights lately have not been the most exciting fights. The guy is a legend. I mean, like, I don't think there's ever been anybody as dominant as him. Well, Anderson Silva and him, but like GSP, like, he's so dominant in his division. Like, it's almost like how can anyone even bet against him? You know, since the only real hiccup in his record as champion was that one fight he had with Matt Serra, which
got caught. Yeah, he got caught by Matt Serra.
Yeah, with Matt Serra, that was the only little hiccup in his record. And since then, he's just like a guaranteed thing. He comes out there, he takes people down, passes their guards, beats them up. Like, he's like a monster. He takes down all the wrestlers. And he's not considered like a wrestler. He learned wrestling as a martial artist, which I think is awesome. So a lot of people had that misconception that if you didn't wrestle in college, you can never be as good as a collegiate wrestler. And GSP is an example of how through MMA training, you can not only get as good as a college wrestler, but you can actually be better than them. Like, this guy's taken down, and at least in the MMA aspect of it. I'm sure in a straight wrestling environment it'd be different, but where it counts, which is fighting, he could take down any of these guys. So I'm also, even though I'm not too crazy about his attitude outside the ring, I'm liking Nick Diaz. You know, I like the.
I knew you were going to say that, Marcos.
I like the pressure.
The boxing and the pressure he puts on
Yeah,
people, right?
Him and his brother, they're both grinders.
They are.
They both come a good pressure game forward, and I like people that use a lot of pressure. I like that style of fighting where people break people down with pressure. There's so many great guys right now. It's hard to think of, like John Jones. I mean, gosh, you know, that guy's a freak.
Yeah, they say everyone we've talked to, Larry, they're special. He's special. He's one of the top at his game, and man, you're gonna. I think and you mentioned it earlier, the evolution of MMA and where it's come from and where it's going, and gosh, the sky's the limit. I'm enamored by just the athleticism that continues to evolve in the MMA industry. Guys are becoming more well-rounded. They can do whether it's grappling, whether it's striking, submissions, whatever the case may be. You have to be well-rounded, tough as nails, no doubt about it. But man, I'm looking forward to seeing the next round. What's going to be next? As far as the evolution of these fighters. What do you see as you look ahead, Marcos? I know the growth is there. I mean, it's fantastic. It's going to continue to grow. I'm glad it's getting on primetime TV. The FXs, the Fox 2s, doesn't always have to be the pay-per-view type thing. But how about as far as the fighters themselves? What do you think we're going to see in years to come?
Well, I think you'd be seeing, just like you mentioned, there's going to be no more like these fighters. It's going to be people that look great boxing, look great on the ground, and look great wrestling. It's becoming the standard now amongst all the champions. But back in the day, you had a champion that was considered a striker, you had a champion that was considered a grappler, you had a champion that was considered a wrestler, and that's not happening anymore. They're all getting weeded out, and it's all these very well-rounded athletes. Like look at look at Anderson Silva. I mean, that guy is another one. You know, he's got great striking, and on the ground, I mean, he's winning his fights with submission as well. That fight he had with Chael Sonnen, where he was getting beat on the whole fight, and then he wins with a triangle. I mean, this is a guy that was considered in the past a striker, winning by triangle choke. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are. It's exciting to see. It's really exciting to see. Like you said, it's an evolution. A lot of guys are just getting to sport now. I was watching the sport back when you got a guy coming out with a gi, with a funky stance, charging people, helping people out, and you get no weight classes, no gloves, and it was like you had people that only specialized in one aspect of their game. Now you got people that are just fighters. They know how to fight. Period. Fighting, is grappling, is wrestling, is striking, and it's really exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing people get. I'm looking forward to seeing guys like John Jones and Anderson Silva and GSP becoming kind of like the standard for everybody, where everybody's coming out all well-rounded, all very specialized. Because even to this day, there's still a lot of gyms that are not like fully on board the MMA trend. You still have gyms that are just jiu-jitsu schools that have like a side program for kickboxing, and you have striking schools that kind of have a clue on the ground. So there's still schools that have not fully on board yet. And you see there come a moment where every gym that has any kind of competition team are going to be 100% integrated in all the styles of combat, stand-up, wrestling, and on the ground. And, man, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Or be left behind, right, Marcos? Or be left behind if you don't keep up with it, no doubt about it. Hey, let's wrap up with this, and I already can imagine the answer. Larry and I, up here at Suck It Up, you know, we have a big initiative with anti-bullying. Larry, as you know, does a great job with his kids' jitsu class. I go on talks to schools, you know, about anti-bullying, and you know, from your perspective, owning the Freestyle Fighting Academy, I know what it does for kids. It gives them confidence. It gives them discipline. It's not about fighting. It's just about being able to handle yourself and being confident. Tell us about down there, and how do you combat any type of bullying that you may hear about or see personally?
Well, there's specific strategies to handling bullies at a childhood level, and we have a great program for that, a bully buster program for that. But for a closing argument, the quickest thing I could put this into is the main element, the main ingredient is confidence, like you mentioned. A lot of people, a question they like to ask me is, oh, so you're a martial artist. Oh, have you ever kicked anyone's ass in the street before? Like who's it like? You know, and I've never been to a street fight, and I want to give credit to the main reason being that there's a certain air of confidence I have that others don't, and people feel that because at its core, you know, predators, because there's human predators, and predators, they have instincts just like the prey has instincts, and the predator, like, you know how you can sense when trouble's coming? Well, the predator can sense when there's a good mark, a good victim to jump on, to pounce on.
Yeah.
And there's just something different, and I don't know if it's the body language, the posture, the voice inflection, I don't know what it is, but the people that know how to fight don't get into fights.
Yep, you're right.
I remember, like, the last time something kind of almost happened, because our gym's 24 hours, and we're next to a pool hall that stays open till like 4 a.m. Almost an element sometimes from that pool hall. So I was coming outside with Jason, and we were walking to the gas station, and a guy behind me yelled up at me, "Hey, what the F you looking at? You got an effing problem?" Out of nowhere. It was two guys. And I turned around, and this is the thing, like, Jason's a phenomenal monster of a fighter, and I'm not too bad myself. And on top of that, in Miami, I have a concealed permit, and I don't go anywhere with my gun. I'm always with a gun on me. That's another thing, all right?
Yeah.
The cards are stacked pretty heavy against these two guys. And I just turned around, and I said, very calmly, "No, actually, I don't have a problem. Is there something wrong? Like, can I help you?" And the guy's face, I'll never forget it. He put this weird, like, twist in his face, and he was like, "Nah, man, everything's cool. I'm just tripping." And he walked away with his buddy.
That's great.
Like, nobody yells, "What the F you looking at? You got an effing problem," and not to start something.
Right. Absolutely.
So just the way he heard something in my voice, with my posture, something that made him realize, yo, this is not a good idea. And it really wasn't. It was not going to end well for him, one way or the other.
Right.
So when you train in martial arts, every day, like, you're training, you're getting better, you spar in the school, you learn to lose in the school. Like, when you're in the in a school environment or even adults, they're very preoccupied and worried about getting beat up. But when you come to the martial arts gym and you lose in sparring matches on a weekly basis, you start to realize, you know what, losing these sparring matches is not a big deal. I'm going to live. I'm just getting hit. It's not a big deal. And once they realize it's not a big deal, they have less fear of it. And they start gaining confidence. And when new people come in and they're handling new people like they're jokes, like they start to realize, wow, I could really tear up the average person. So when they get into the schoolyard or whatever, people avoid them. They avoid them. And they also don't feel the need to prove themselves. I've walked away from so many stupid situations. I remember I was in the Grove area in Miami. People hang out with my wife.
Yeah.
And this guy, right in my face, in front of my wife, he looked at my wife and he blew her a kiss and winked at her. And he was with like 2 or 3 other guys. And I looked at him. And I just turned around and walked away. Like I really, because this is the thing. There's several options that can happen. Right? One, I could turn around and beat the hell out of this guy. I could beat him an inch from his life. Right? I get hit every day. Like I spar my guys. The idea of me getting hit doesn't do anything. I'm actually proud when I come home and I have a black eye because it feels like I did something.
Right.
So I got to beat the living crap out of these guys. But then what was accomplished? Like, one, I might break my hand or something. That's the best case scenario. Okay. 2, I might screw up because it's a fight. I don't care what anyone says. It's a fight. Anything happen, and I can get laid out and soccer kicked and killed.
Right.
Right. And then let's say best case scenario, I do beat the crap out of him. What was really accomplished? He's not going to wake up from this beating and be less of an asshole.
No, you're right.
He's always going to be an asshole.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So he's going to wake up from this beating, and if anything, he's even more vindictive about it. And the next time he jumps somebody, he's going to make sure to do it right. So all I'm doing is paying it forward and making sure the next person he blows a kiss in front of his girlfriend, he's going to cheap shot the guy from the side and make sure he gets him down.
Right.
So at the end of the day, nothing's going to be accomplished. And the worst case scenario is this guy pulls a knife or a gun, or I pull my gun and I'm going to kill somebody.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Over something I could just walk away from.
Right.
But the problem is this: I don't mind walking away from this guy because I have a 1,000,000% confidence that I'm going to beat the hell out of this guy. I have more going on in my life than this guy. I'm a much better individual than this guy. This guy's a miserable person that's going out of his way to bring other people down to make himself feel better about himself. This is a person that he felt the need to try to embarrass somebody in front of their woman to make himself feel better.
Right.
So understanding this, I'm able to walk away very okay with it. Whereas someone else that doesn't have that confidence, like someone that is questioning whether or not this guy, is, in essence, has more manly than him. I mean, it's an immature thing, but it's primitive. If people have instinctual primitive needs, and they have this guy challenging him, and in their mind, they're like, well, is it that this guy's more man than me? Like, can he beat me up and I'm walking away because I'm scared? But when you are a trained martial artist, you're above all that.
Yep.
So you can easily walk away from situations that the average person could not walk away from.
You're a wise man, Marcos. You're a wise man. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 31 years old, sir.
You are a wise man. I love it. I love it. It's been an honor having you on the Suck It Up Radio Network, and I can't thank you enough. Hey, listen, we'd like to invite anybody, part of your gym, any of your fighters you want to get some exposure up here, not just on in Northeast Florida, but on the World Wide Web. We do tape these shows, so we'll be able to get you the link, and you can check it out and listen to the interview and all that. And if you get a chance, please check out the website, suckitupusa.com. It's just a positive message to get people to be the best they can be, no matter what. So we thank you so much, man.
Hey, Tom, appreciate it. Can I mention my website really quick?
Yeah, do it.
If anybody's interested in following my videos and seeing more techniques and just learning more about our philosophy as a gym, you can check out our website. It's www.freemmavideos.com.
Got it. freemmavideos.com. If you've been listening, you can tell that Marcos and his team, man, they're going to get you right, and they're going to do it the right way. And I tell you what, I think that's the only way to live. That's the only way to get after things and make your life as great as we can make it.
Hey, thanks a lot, Tom, Larry. Great talking to you guys.
Yeah, God bless you, Marcos. Thank you so much. That was awesome, man. Really cool. Marcos is a man well beyond his years, man. I'll tell you that right now. Wow. Awesome. Marcos, Avellan, freemmavideos.com. Check them out. And if you're in the Miami area, check them out. Freestyle Fighting Academy with over 1,000 students. But I tell you what, sounds like he treats every one of them the exact same, as you should, as a leader. And, man, great stuff. Great stuff. Nice job, Lair.
Very passionate.
Gosh, I
it
just
takes
love that way of
passion
life.
To be good at your calling,
Yeah.
you have to have passion. Mm-hmm. And just listening to him, I was getting motivated.
I am too. You know what's funny too is because I'm sitting now. Miami's a different world than up here. And don't get me wrong, it can be tough up here depending on where you're at. He's a better man. I'm going to have to think about I'm going to have to try to learn from that, because if someone winks and blows a kiss at my wife, I'm probably decking him. But you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe you just walk away and you're the better man. Because what happens next time? You're not going to change that guy. Are you really going to change him?
No.
Probably not. He's still going to be a jerk like Marco said. So, man, great words of wisdom. Only 31, too. He's been around, been there, done that. Love it.
Unbelievable human being, and I'm very fortunate to be associated with a lot of these guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very.
Well, you know what? You're not the military, but it's like the military, how they're wired. You're wired a certain way. You're just, look, you're confident. You're going to get things done no matter what. Adversity is going to come. You're going to have to work through it. You're going to have to bust through it. It's not about kicking anybody's ass. It's just about being whole with yourself and being able to walk around feeling good.
And that is where the MMA and the as popular as it is now, getting it to the kids early, like we're doing, like Marcos is doing, like Brad is doing. All the guys we're talking to, I believe we're making some positive changes. This sport,
absolutely,
getting it mainstream.
Yeah,
it's gonna make.
Larry, can you imagine back when he was fighting, when it was no holds barred? I mean, do you remember those days?
Yeah, that's what got me into it originally.
Wow.
Hoist Gracie on the original Ultimate Fighting Challenge, they called it. Fought 3 and 4 fights a night. That's who he was referring to about this guy with this funny stance. He'd throw like a teep kick and then just try to maul the guy, get him to the grab him, hold him, get him to the ground.
Unbelievable.
It was unreal.
That's great stuff.
But it's come a long way, and I'm just so thrilled it's mainstream now. And
yeah, it is. It's great. It's going to be even more mainstream.
Here's what we need to do.
Tell me.
We need to, the next one that's on TV, maybe Saturday, have it in my gym, since it's free TV. You don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
And in between rounds, we can fight each other.
You mean practice against each other,
exactly,
Larry. We're not fighting.
Not us.
That's great,
Let you
man.
fight the guys.
That's great. And I tell you what, talk about a self-made individual that just keeps going and going and going, never stops. That's Marcos. That's how everybody should be, man.
Yep.
You know, I posted something on Facebook today. Got dreams? Good. Willing to work your ass off for them? That's the real question. You got to do it. And that's like Marcos and anybody that has a dream that wants to make a difference in this world and be successful. Man, you're A-OK in my book.
I'd like to get his mentor. His mentor is Lloyd Irvin.
Okay, yeah, he mentioned him, yeah.
He is he's an outstanding man as well. Again, great people doing great things for other great people. We're very fortunate, Thomas.
Yes, we are. That's great. I'm fortunate for you, man, for coming into my life and sharing these great experiences and these great people and it's such a perfect fit with Suck It Up. I mean, you live it. You live it. You have to live it if you want to make it in that business, in that arena. So I absolutely love it, and will continue to endorse it and get more involved, because I mean it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's mano a mano, man. I'm telling you, football's great. Football's hard. It's hard to make it to the NFL. There's no doubt about it. But you're part of one of 11 on the field at any given time, and you do count on the guy next to you. You do, count on that guy. And I know you count on your corner and you count on your training and all that, but at the end of the day, it's you against your opponent, and that's it. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. It's up to you to figure out how that fight is going to go. Ain't that the truth?
No question about it.
I'm preaching to the crowd.
You are, man. But I tell you what, it's exciting.
Yeah,
and I love to see your excitement.
I love it, man.
Again, between you and Marcos, I'm going to have to go run through a wall or something.
I know, me too, man. I'm ready. I got to do something. All right, very good. That was awesome. Hey, our MMA special every Tuesday and Thursday. It's the Professor Larry Shealy and Tom McManus, co-founder of Suck It Up, join the movement. And this is our headquarters right here at the Loft in Jacksonville Beach. Also home of my radio show, Tom McManus Uncensored on Sports Radio 930 here in town. On the Suck It Up Radio Network as we simulcast and on your phone. So don't forget, get it for the iPhone and the Droid when you text SIU to 72239. That'll do it for us. You know what? Whether you're in MMA or not, listen to these words of wisdom, and that's how you should live your life. Never giving up, never quitting, getting after it, never stopping, and being humble the entire time. All these fighters are humble because they're confident. You know, hey, you got a problem. You know what? No, I don't. I don't have a problem. It's cool. No problem. Inside, you're thinking, man, I could totally just rip your face off right now if I wanted to. But I'm not going to, because you know what? That's not going to do anybody any good, especially you. Mm-hmm. That's a confident way to be, and I tell you what, I love that way. I love that way. All right, Larry, great stuff, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
That'll do it for us. The Professor, Larry Sheely, owner of Jacksonville's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu School, jaxbjj.com. Check him out. He's right there on Atlantic Boulevard. He joins me 8 o'clock hour on the morning show, Tom McManus Uncensored. Also, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 to 2 p.m., right here on the Suck It Up Radio Network. Hey, suck it up. It's a way of life. Live it to the fullest with no excuses and no quit. We'll see you next time right here on the Suck It Up Radio Network.
This has been a production of SuckItUpUSA.com and EIGProductions.com. Heard exclusively on the Suck It Up Radio Network.